dust everywhere from fabric. So some of you know I've been cleaning and reorganizing my craft room because I bought myself a little shed for outside to store overstock in. And I have so much. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Luann. I have so much lace that it is incredible. I didn't realize that I had so much. So, yeah. And we got our roof installed, so new roof, yay. All that's done. Next is gutters. Get the gutters on. I think there's supposed to be a guy here sometime this week to give us an estimate on that, so. Yeah. And I'm a little bit early. So, that's what's been happening. And I got all my fabric in here in my craft room out of the tubs and stored in this container. Well, it's not a container. It's a metal close, like it's got doors on the front. You can lock it, and it's metal cabinet. That's what I'm trying to say. And so yeah. And I, probably could use another one of them too. Oh, excuse me. Choked myself. Get a drink, Penny. Get a drink. Oh, goodness sakes. Hi, Sam. Hi, Connie. I don't know where our fearless leader is. So, I guess she'll be on here in just a second. Hi, Karen. But tonight we're going to make these rockets. We made the, there her is. We made the fireworks last week, the firecrackers, and I told you I was going to make rockets. So, this is what I came up with today. And this is my first one I made, so I think I've got some of the kinks worked out. So what I bought was, I went and got this, this noodle, this foam noodle. It's a 2-inch foam noodle. I got it from Hobby Lobby. And it was like $4.99, and it's really long. And, so I got that, but you can also use your, paper towel rolls, these paper towel rollers. So you could use these, or I think this was like a saran. Hi, Twyla. This may have been saran wrap or something. I can't remember now. I took it off of something and I thought, oh, I'll save that, But anyway, anything that's the round like this, you can use for this project. So what I did was I cut this foam to like 7 inches. And I printed out some patriotic papers. 5, 6, 7. So right there's at 7 inches. And I pushed my blade out almost as far as I could get it to cut down through this evenly. I'm trying to do this up here on camera, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. So there is that. Hi, Joyce. Welcome, welcome. So, I did mine about 7 inches. Now the same thing with this one. You can just lay it down and cut it, make a mark. Now trying to find that again. I may just have to do this way. These are a little harder to make sure that you get them. And you may not get it straight because they're a little harder to cut. I just try to make sure that I'm keeping this end over here on my line. That's what I'm trying to watch for. And turn it just a little. Well, we didn't do too bad. No, that's not too bad. And you could do a smaller rocket. Rockets come in all different sizes and shapes, and you know, it doesn't matter. They're just to stick in, like, I don't know if I have these great big huge Crocs that they used to use back in the day. You know, they're great big primitive type old antique Crocs. Pickling Crocs, I think is what they used to call them. And I like to decorate with those in my house, and I stick these, I'm going to stick these in there, and that's what they're for. Let me refresh. I froze again, of course. Hi, Cassie. So, anyway, that's what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to stick them in, and then we're going to use them at the flea market for, you know, 4th of July decoration. I'll get it said. And you could, if you did these in a kind of a plasticky paper, I would think, you could probably keep them outside. So I have this set of papers that it's got all these cute little, the other one I already used on this one. So there was 4 of these, and then I think you get this. Here's the other half of that one. And it's designed by Nostalgic Journaling, and it's called Independence Day. And that's where I got this kit from on Etsy that I'm going to use. So that's where they come from. And then the other type of papers that I'm going to be using is just some random 4th of July type papers. So that's what we're going to be using. And then at the Dollar Tree, they have these great big long, and I mean they're long. These are over 36 inches long, and they're bamboo skewers, and that's what we're also going to be using. So I'm going to take one of those out, because you need that. You need your hot glue gun, of course. So my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it to the length that I would like to have it. And it's about 18 inches. So I already know that I want to cut it 18 inches. And I'm going to cut it a little less than 18 inches. And I'm going to use my little tool here. Let me mark this first at 18 inches. All right, a little less. So get that in there. And that thing cuts that so good. All right. And then I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm just going to put some hot glue on this. Just the length of that. So let me put my finger on here where I need to stop with my glue. I'm just gonna squish hot glue all over that. Just like that. I'm gonna take that, stick it up inside of here. And just press it to one side because this has a little hole in it. You know, as you can see this little hole. I hope you can see. Like I said, I froze again, so I can't see me. This constantly having to refresh is getting on the nerves. On the nerves. All right. So there we go. We got that part. And now you can take the distress ink if you want this stick to be a little distressed. Now, of course, I didn't get it in there quite fast enough. You gotta get it in there pretty fast or this dries. There we go. Hold it down. Let's hold it in there for a second. Hi, Marie. Okay. So there we go. I'm just using the ground espresso to darken up my stick. Make it look like it's a little more vintage looking. All right, there we go. So we have that part. Now, this thing is 2 inches around. So I had already got my 2-inch hole punch, and I punched out some 2-inch circles out of cardstock. And I am just going to, I should have done this beforehand. Let me lay it on this one up here. Trying to figure out where that, there we go. I made a little hole. All right. So I just found the little tip that I have sticking out up here, the little bamboo skewer. No, I can't hardly put it in the camera. But there's a little tip right here. And I just pressed this down over it to make a little hole. So I know where that hole is going to be. And then I'm just going to there we go. Push it on there, just like that. And I got it off kilter. If that's all right. Because it's just so this is hard to do on camera because it's so long. Alright. So you have to play with that for a little bit to get it on there the way you want it. I should have done it before I glued this in, and that's what I did to the first one, and then I wasn't thinking. So, but you want to cover your end here so that it doesn't show. And let's grab some Mod Podge. I guess I need a paper towel. Okay. I'm just going to paint this. With Mod Podge to glue it down. Yeah, I'm hitting the camera, in case you haven't noticed. And then I'm going to just hold that. I know. There we go. Hold that into place. Till it dries for a minute. And you can put hot glue on there. PVA glue, whatever you want to use to hold that down. And then you trim off. I'm going to trim off my excess. There we go. So I got that. Let's scoot that over out of the way from our papers. And then we get to pick a paper to use to wrap around our... And I really like the kid part of them showing on these. The little images. So wrap it around. And let's see. I think I'm gonna cut it right here where this line is on that. So I'll lay that back down. Goes out of the way. There we go. Ta-da. And then I want to cut it this direction. But I want to leave a little bit because I want room to wiggle. So I'm just going to mark this just a little longer on both sides. I have that marked longer on both sides. If you don't leave yourself room, then trying to wrap that around there, you might get off a little bit. No, come on now, get out of the way. So I'm just going to paint this with Mod Podge. I don't want to do all of it, just parts of it, just so I can get it started. And you want to see about making sure that you line it up straight. See, I keep getting it off. That's what I mean. You want plenty of room. Okay. If I put that over there, it might have room. This handle, this long handle, maybe I should have put the handle on last. We'll decorate this one, the next one first, and then see about putting that handle on the last. Maybe that would work easier. Like I said, I just did one real quick just to kind of get my feet wet on it. They were making fun of me about, you know, not wanting to bumble on camera. But as you see, I do it anyway. Doesn't matter whether I do something 1 time or 50 times. Now, yeah. All right. It is real life, that's for sure. All right. There we go. And I'm just rolling that up so it'll all get smashed down and glued really good. And then I'm going to take my scissors and start trimming. Around the outside. And you want it really close. And it's okay if you can see some of that white, because we're going to just take our distress inks and cover that up anyway. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue around that so it'll seal it rather well. All around that, and that's what I'm doing. I guess I could get over here on camera. I'm just taking my hot glue and going around all that, just to seal it in. I'm going to touch it in just a minute after it cools down, just a smidge, just to push it down. Okay, so there we got that. The bottom part. Now the top part we don't have to worry about cutting, or I meant, you know, covering this top part, because we're going to put our topper on there. But we do want to trim it off. Sorry, I got to get my head in here so I can see what I'm doing, and so you guys can see what I'm doing. I hope you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And you don't have to get that like completely perfect, because like I said, we're going to put the topper over it. But I do want to ink it just because up in there you're going to see, if you look up in there, you're going to see some of it. Okay. And then I want to ink the bottom. That's another thing. You want to make sure you get it all glued down really good. But we're going to put Mod Podge all over the outside of it when we're done, too, to seal it. To get it all sealed. There we go. Okay. So the cone that we put on the top, is I made myself a template and drew some off wherever I put it. Oh, that's right here in front of you. So I drew, it's just a circle, and what I used was a lid that is about 5, it was like 5 and something, 5.5 inches. Yeah, so it's 5.5 inches across this this circle, and it was a lid, a Tupperware, a Rubbermaid lid for those little, you know, those little bowls. And then I just cut a slit to the middle, and then I made myself a line of how far I want to bring it over, and it makes my little dome topper. So I had already printed some here, but I'm going to go ahead and ink it so we can ink this all up. So when I made that, like I said, when I drew this off, you can see that one side is shorter than the other side. Because when I drew it and then got it to where I wanted it, just like this, the base, I took my scissors and trimmed it, and that's why one side is longer, because when you go around, and then when I lay this down and draw it, I make sure that one of them is longer, because if I lift it back and then, well, I lift this side back and make my line there so I know how far to cut it in. And then that's, and I marked it, you know, how far I want to, just like that. And so I made one, and then you can use that if you make multiples as your template. And that's what I did here. And I just made, you know, more of them. So the longest side is the one that goes over the shortest side. So when you're folding this, it's going to go over the top of it. And that's how, and you can see it's matching then. It matches the roundness. And that's what, I know I'm sounding like I'm bumbling, but the longest side that's sticking out after you make your template and you size it to the way you want it, proportion it with your firecracker part, that is the longest side, and it always goes on top. So when you go to fold this around to meet, you know that one is going to go on the top to make the top of your rocket. So now we're going to take that, and you could use double stick tape. It'd probably work really well for this, making these tops. And I'm just going to glue it and hold it for a second. Just like that. And then underneath here, you want to glue all this or tape this too. And then if you have any little bits, just trim those off. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just as close to it as you can get. And then we're just going to take this and run hot glue all around this top edge. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to put hot glue all around that top edge. And then there's our little rocket. But we're not done, because every rocket needs a fuse, right? So I take a piece of jute, and I don't know. It doesn't have to be real long. Let's see how long this is. Let me cut it, and then we'll see. All right. It looks like it's 7 inches. All right, so I have 7 inches of jute, and then I'm going to make a knot in it. I'm just going to tie a knot in the middle of it, just like that, or try to get in the middle as close as I can. Okay. Then I'm going to take my PVA glue. This is the part that gets messy, just like we did on my fireworks. We're going to coat this in glue. And then we're just going to start twisting it together. This is what's going to make our fuse. But if you had a vase or something, you know, a bucket or anything that had flowers in it, or, you know, on your deck or porch or patio or whatever, these would be really cute. Let that dry for a minute. Clean my fingers off. Hi Tina, hi Bets. Thanks. So, there we go. That's our little fuse. So we have our fuse, and it's going to dry for a minute. Now we get out our Mod Podge again, because now we want to Mod Podge our whole entire firework, just to seal it. I'm just getting up in there, under there. Make sure you get the bottom of it. That's my son, and he'll probably try calling me back. All right. Okay, now I'm going to take my heat gun. I'm going to do that over here because it's kind of loud. We're just going to see about drying it real quick. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, thank you. I hope he sees it. So if you go to dry these and you're using this styrofoam noodle, just remember that you're using a styrofoam noodle, like those little hair curlers that we used, because what happens is they can melt. If you get those things hot enough, they will melt. And then you'll have your rocket collapsing. So, you know, be wary of that. Now, I'm going to attach with hot glue my fuse. And I'm just going to stick it down here on the stick with the hot glue. Hold it for a second. And then we have our little fuse. As soon as it dries. Okay, and then there's that rocket. Let me see about holding it up over here. Stay there, please. Okay. Now we were going to do this one. So this one is a little different. We're going to get our stick, and this stick is only 14 inches, so I'm not going to put it up in there as far, like up in the tube as far, but we're going to do that after we decorate. But I think I want to punch a hole close to the side here. If I just punch a hole with my hole punch pretty close to the edge, like that, to have something to run through, and see how that'll go through there. Now, like that. And we're going to do that last. So we have that and that. They were from, let me pull that up. Designed by Nostalgic Journaling. I don't know. Let me see if I can get that up there. There we go. Now you can see it. Take a screenshot. And that's where they came from, on Etsy. And the other ones are Creative Fabrica. Okay. So, this time, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to take this paper. Just gonna coat this really good with our Mod Podge. All right. Like that. Alrighty. That's okay if you got wrinkles and stuff in it. Just smooth them out. Try to do the best you can do. It's just you can take ink and cover up all that mistakes. It'll be all right. Just fine. I'm just trying to pull it really tight as I'm doing it. Okay. Trying to cut straight. I don't know if it's happening, but we're trying. Because I'm going to cut out one of those kids, and I'm going to put that on this one. And you could get a label. You could do whatever your little heart desired on these to decorate them. Because, you know, fireworks are really, you know, whatever. You see so many different kinds. There we go. I just like the foam, I think, better because it just it's like more stability there, I would say. And this one, I'm just going to fold that in, just like that. And you could have done that on the other side instead of cutting it off like I did. All right, so there's that. And I want to ink that, just because, I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just doing it. I just like it. I just like to ink stuff. All right. So there's that. Why pop your scissors, Penny? Good night, Cassie. It was nice seeing you. Okay. So let's do this Cracker Jack kid. Oh, I can't cut with those. I'm so used to these bigger scissors. So let's fussy cut him out real quick. Fussy cutting done quick. Yeah, you're funny, Penny. And hopefully it won't take us too long. He's kind of got a line around him. Like a guiding outline. There we go. Voila. See, that wasn't too bad. Alright. And I want to ink him. Just because I can. And I probably should have left that dry just a little bit. My firecracker. Okay. I'm going to hit it with some. My tree trim is yours? Yeah. Okay. Now. I think I got him a little too far up that way. But I think it'll be all right. There we go. Yeah. And he looks cute on there. So any kind of cutout, you can cut out something that, you know, suits your taste. Okay. Where's my circle that I just cut out with the hole in it? Then I knock it in the floor. There it is. There it is. Right here. Yeah, so I'm going to put that on my stick, just like that, first. Find this, because I want this on the opposite side of my person, my man thing. Or do I want it on the same? Actually, I think I want it on the side of it. Alright. So I'm going to put my finger how far I want it up in there, just like that. All right. Alrighty, there we go. And now I have this that I'm going to ink. I don't know why. Because, you know, I'm going to glue it on there. And then I've got to cut it all off and ink it again. So, you know, I have no idea why. Just because it's a habit, I think. Right? Alright. So now, not a whole lot of room on this one to glue something to, but that's okay. We can make it work. And you could shove this full of, oh goodness, anything, Walmart sacks, cotton, whatever, to give it more stability if you would like. It doesn't matter. There we go. And inking it again. And gluing it again. I'm just running some glue all around the seal, just to make sure that we get it stuck down. So like I said, that one doesn't have a whole lot of anything there to stick it to. Okay, so there's that part. And now for our dome for the top. So we have one here that's the same as this. I think it would look just fine. That is my longer edge. That means it goes that direction, just like so. And you know what? We could even staple that if you wanted to staple it. Just trying to make sure I get it where I want it. For the size of my firecracker. There we go. That looks good. I'm going to grab some glue. Hold on to that. Flip that side up. Yay. Just trying to make sure that that gets all nice and pressed down. Ink it. All right, just like so. Now we're going to put glue all around the top. Stick our lid on. Oh man, you see I just moved that and it took my stick out. See, my stick is flopping around. All right, so we're gonna fix it. Peel all this, try and get all this old glue off there so I can stick it back through that hole. There we go. So that's not a bad idea. Let's scrape this down to make it flat. So if it's a little flatter, it'll stick better. There we go. I'm going to try and get it in that hole without scraping all my glue off. Yes, you could. Absolutely. Absolutely, what Barbie just said. You could put tape in there to hold that stick and then punch your hole and put this piece on there on the bottom. You know, you don't have to do it last or whatever. You'll figure out ways to do this. Like I said, I've just seen pictures and I just try to make something and then show you guys how I'm going to do it. So, but you can figure out your, you know, we're all crafters. Well, all except for Barbie. You know, see, she acts like she doesn't know what she's doing, but she just suggested the tape top for the inside, so she's smarter than your average bear. Don't tell her I said that, though. She'll get a big head, and then we won't be able to get her out of the door. Okay, so now we're going to Mod Podge the outside. Again, like we did the other one, just to make it more shiny and have a little more stability. But you don't want your sticks. You want to get them in there, glued in there pretty good. Like I said, I don't really care for this. Using the toilet paper rolls, you can, of course, you know. I don't know how long they would hold up, actually. I think it would be better if you did fill them with something. I'm just kind of slopping that around on there. Alright, so let's do the top. Hey, there's Jared. Yeah, I'm making my rockets. As some of you may not know, Jared is my son. And he makes all kinds of crafty stuff too. But he does, he doesn't do junk journals like Edwin does. But he has made some. Kind of like it. But he makes weapons. Weapons that look real, but they're all foam. And he holds events. And things that they fight with these said weapons. Not, you know, it's a play fight. So. Alright, let's hit this with some heat. Okay, so there's that one. All we need to now is to make the little, yeah. What do we call it? Fuse. I'll get it said. So let's lay you down right there. And we're gonna get another, well, that one's got a bad little spot right there. You don't have to be precise with your, and the knot is just so that I have something to kind of hang on to. Just put some glue on there. And twist. Reputations. Replication. She knew what she meant. Facebook didn't. Autocorrect didn't know what she meant. That's funny. He has a bad reputation. Not really. He's good. He's a good young, well, he's not so young anymore. He's getting kind of old. Yeah, we're gonna have to teach Barbie your hooked on phonics. She's gonna have to take your hooked on phonics class, T. All right. So there's our, well, kind of. Come on. Why are my fingers getting nasty? Ugh. That feels really gross. We won't say what it feels like. Ugh. Alright, so let us plop some, well, let's put on here and on here. There we go. I blame the alcohol. All right. There we go. And there is our rockets. This one made with the pool noodle, which I like so much better. Well, it's not really a pool noodle. It's just a noodle from Hobby Lobby. And then this one from a paper towel holder. But that's our little rockets. Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And I don't have anything else new to show you because, like I said, I've been cleaning on my craft room, getting everything all spruced up so I have more room, you know. And just like I've told everyone, I do not need to buy lace at all. I've even told my husband not to let me buy any. I have way too much, so no. Yeah, America. There you go. I can hear his voice already. Yeah, very patriotic. And you can stick those in your old Crocs or your plants and, you know, decorate up for the new 250 years. So, I'm cut off. Now, the fabric, you can't say that about the fabric. Fabric is something you could never have enough of. Because, you know, it's so gorgeous. And you just gotta have fabric. Yes, I know, there is actually, Twyla. Yeah, there is. Yeah. Alright. Thanks all for joining me. I appreciate every one of you. And I will see you next week. I believe Sam and T has things planned for you coming up. So I know I never will. I know. You thought I seen my photo? Yeah, America's Most Wanted. She's a lace hoarder. It's bad. It's really bad. All right, guys. Yep, Sam will be here tomorrow night. So, love you guys. You have a great weekend ahead. Great week ahead, even. And I will see you tomorrow night on Sam's Life. Love you guys. Good night.